Good morning and welcome to another episode of Freeworld Trading. So let's just get on with it. The US the non-farm payroll report was released last week, and basically the main conclusion from it was that there's lower US job figures than expected.
That's right, yeah, and immediately after that the euro went up to 113. Then that was a bit of a knee-jerk reaction. By the end of the day, we were down to about 12.20 or something like this. Today, it's up to about 1.1260.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a kind of this is almost like the end of an act in a play, because what's really been going on is who's going to raise the interest rate first. Till about, let's say about a month ago, the last Fed meeting, it was certain that it was going to be America, and there were a lot of bullish noises coming out of America. Then the last Fed meeting, Yellen said there was too much global uncertainty to go on with this, and now we've had this quite daunting number, which suggests that perhaps all isn't as well in the American economy itself, leave alone global uncertainty, to put the interest rate up. So now it looks like bets on the interest rates going up. UK is probably now being really middle of the road, would be somewhere like the end of next year. And the Fed, well, maybe another 3 months, maybe another 4 months. The backdrop is of increasing global uncertainty. We've got Mr. Putin going into Syria. There is increasing uncertainty, I think. Of course, none of the migrant issues or the Greek kicking the can down the road.
Although the Syriza party were just elected a few days ago.
Were they?
Yeah. Again. So there is mass global uncertainty at the moment, isn't there?
There is uncertainty, and a lot of these issues aren't being resolved, and I think these kind of focus down on Europe itself. It's the biggest source of uncertainty. I mean, even things like the Volkswagen stuff come up and make you feel a bit uneasy about, look at Glencore's prices, billions and billions of dollars are going up and down every day. So the next issue
is really Europe, isn't it?
It's Europe.
So in terms of Britain's place in Europe, I mean, obviously we're seeing divisions within the Conservative Party regarding whether to stay in or out, and then obviously S&P and Nicola Sturgeon will react to that. How is that going to affect the volatility of
this can be very interesting to see how this European issue is going to be played out, and then under what sort of terms, because we mustn't forget that the European community was set up to prevent another world war in Europe. It's a very, very, very serious thing.
Sure.
Yet we're discussing it to a lot of people in Britain, it's being put in the same sort of proto-fascist, nationalistic, like the immigration debate is being discussed, or the migrant debate is being discussed on a very sort of us and them basis.
Very polarizing,
but on a very emotional level. Nobody's talking about actually why it's there. And then a whole sort of can of worms is opening, because Nicola Sturgeon is saying, well, if for argument's sake the UK votes against the EC, and Scotland's place very much is in Europe. I mean, that's the only way that we could survive. Then we should have a referendum vote again. Another issue is that, well, the Conservative Party is the party that's going to be split the most by this. Okay, it's got a working majority this time. We don't have a coalition, but I think the Conservative Party is where the biggest split down this line is, and it's not a sort of what is the right answer in terms of pounds, shillings, and pence. This is a basic question about sovereignty, and whether people are prepared to surrender sovereignty for the sake of no war in Europe. It's a fundamental question.
That's a fundamental question economically and obviously politically. Just want to finish this episode by talking a little bit about what the difference is, and it's a very clear difference between best before date and the use by date. So according to a recent bit of research, it is found that 7.2 million tons of food and drink are thrown away every year in the UK alone, related to confusion regarding what a best before date is, which goes into confusion with retail packaging companies and all the undefined regulations which exist at the moment. So what is the difference between best before date and use by date? Well, according to this article and according to other research organizations, use by date, if you go past the use by date, for example, for fresh foods like salmon and salad, you will be increasing the likelihood of getting food poisoning. It is unhealthy to go past that use by date. Whereas best before date is just more telling of the quality of the food. So it's a little bit more lenient. You can eat food which is 3-4 days out over the best before.
Well, yeah,
best before date. Whereas a use by date is
they're saying it might not be as tasty, or it might not be as crisp, or it might be something like this. That's what.
So it's related more to the quality of the food, whereas the use by date is related more to the health, the health impact of actually going.
That's correct, and also you can extend that use by date by freezing, where eventually. Actually, what happens is that life processes come to a stasis. They stop still until you take it out of the freezer again.
Yeah. So
I think if people were a little bit more aware of what was actually happening in their freezers and their cookers, and did this is just prep school biology,
right?
They would know more about the food, the cooking processes, etc. They could make their own minds up. But we're throwing away a lot of food here.
7.2 million tons is a lot of food.
Yeah, it's like 400 quid's worth a year.
And it's a lot of
every household.
Unsold stuff in the food economy, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's I find it distasteful. This sort of, it's like, what about the farmer? He spent, he's grown this, and then what about you make there's an environmental cost to any kind of farming, and we're just taking that and just throwing it into the bin.
Mm-hmm. So one way to reduce that statistic would be to know exactly the difference between a best before date and use by date, and know where your foods come from, which relates to the whole field to fork movement. Yeah. So take more of an interest in the food you eat, not in an obsessive way, but more in just an educated, informed way. All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.